Eddie Scott.
Excellent. Here comes then.
I want to put this morning behind me.
Yeah, that's right. Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Today's story was make-believe. You know that Earth was never really in any danger.
No.
The morning stream, 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 the morning stream.
This is the Morning Stream asking, do dogs have brains? Because I really want to know.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the morning stream. It is TMS for February 6th. It's the 6th, 2020. Jeez Louise. I don't know where that came from. Just spilled right out of me. Anyway, it's a show. I'm digging out of the snow still. It's cold as hell right now. It's like 16 degrees or something outside.
No, it's cold. It is cold as heck here. Oh, and I'm Brian Ibbett, by the way.
Hi, Brian Ibbett. Hi.
You know what? I'll jump in and do that.
Sure.
It's cold as hell here. That's a dumb expression because
cold as
hell is the opposite of cold.
Well, it depends on what you think hell is. Like the traditional sort of historical version of the myths of hell is that it's a big fiery furnace. So you're right about that.
Sure. Are there people who think that it's like a chilly sub-zero Arctic environment?
I mean, that to me sounds more like hell. So if it were me, extreme cold would be my version of hell versus the heat. Although the fire is no good. Nobody wants the fire.
See, that's what I'm thinking. I think you're equating hell to like Las Vegas level heat, and I think you need to equate it to like being in the fireplace kind of heat.
Oh, then Phoenix.
Going.
Phoenix, then you mean Phoenix.
Phoenix. Yeah, I guess I mean Phoenix. Yeah,
Take that, Phoenix. Take that. Anyway, no, it's not that bad, actually.
Quick thing, it's Tina's birthday today, so happy birthday, Tina.
Oh, that's great. Hold on. I got a birthday thing to play. I hope she's listening.
Is it Mr. Miyagi? I hope it's Mr. Miyagi.
It might be. Hold on. Birthday. Okay, here we go. Coming up right up here. Is this it?
Will you light a candle and remember me on my birthday?
That's not it. We don't want that. Is it this one?
When's your birthday?
No, that's today. We know that already. Okay, that's happy birthday. Hold on.
I can't believe this. They forgot my birthday.
No, that doesn't work either because Brian remembered it. No. Here.
Oh, that was it. Isn't that it?
Birthday to you.
There you go. That's it.
Yeah, perfect. Excellent. It's
right.
like, and then he made a cake, but it had a fly and some chopsticks.
Yeah, that was, don't ever eat that.
It's gross.
Don't eat his cake. Miyagi cake, bad cake. Anyway, hey, whatever, man. We're here. We're going to make a show. We're going to do it, even though we should be celebrating Tina's birthday and doing nothing else. So
that's right.
That's just how it's going to go. All right, so a couple quick things.
Yeah.
I wanted to share some wisdom.
Oh, no.
With our crowd. I don't know if it's really wisdom or not. Seems dangerous to even say that, but here is some wisdom that I have gained. So as of mid-October of last year, I have not had a single sugar-based drink. So that includes like orange juice out of a can or whatever, or out of a bottle or any of that. No fruit juices, none of that stuff.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, not even like natural sugars. Like,
well, some of them may have, some may do better than others, but most of that stuff, because even if it's like pure, let's say it's just pure apple juice.
Yeah.
It's all the sugar, none of the other benefits, like none of the fiber, none of the nothing. So it's not good because it's a huge source of sugar. So I've cut down on all kinds of sources of sugar. Juice is super high in sugar.
Sure.
In fact, maybe even more than like getting a Coke or something.
Oh, yeah, sometimes, especially like the Sunny D.
Yeah, Sunny D.
Sunny D.
So anyway, I haven't had any of that sort of stuff since October. When the opportunity arises, though, where I'm like, I want to have something that isn't just frickin' water all day, I have bent the knee to certain kinds of 0-calorie drinks. And I'd like to share with you what I've found to be what I believe the best of them all. Okay?
Okay. All right.
I have in that time sampled.
If you do not say Zevia Black Cherry, we're not friends anymore.
I have tried Zevia Black Cherry. I like it, but it's not my favorite. But I can do it. My problem with the Zevia stuff and anything with that plant-based, what's the name of the sweetener?
Stevia.
Is it stevia?
Yeah.
No, not stevia. Is that it? Maybe that is it.
Yeah, it's that's
They get them mixed
that's
up.
what those come from. Because I think stevia is what Coke Zero and the Zevia stuff has.
No, Coke Zero does not. Coke Zero uses
Coca-Cola Life uses the stevia.
Yes,
that's
correct.
Right.
Coke Life uses stevia. It's a mix of stevia and cane sugar. And I'm convinced that the reason they put a little cane sugar in there to mix it with the stevia is because stevia on its own is
the bitterness.
really bitter. Yeah, it's like you can tell it's a damn plant.
Yeah.
So anyway,
okay, I'm sorry. Please go ahead. I've interrupted you on your favorite.
aspartame, I guess, is the main one in most diet drinks. So anyway, what was my point? I was going to say a thing and I forgot. Oh, so all right. So I've tried the Mountain Dew, Diet Mountain Dew. It's no good. Don't like it.
No good. Nope.
Used to love the Mountain Dew. Don't like this version of it. Diet Coke, I can do in a pinch, but I don't love it. Never did. Still don't.
No.
Tastes a little like I'm licking somebody's toe. I don't know why. Not a fan. And then along comes Diet Dr. Pepper, which is in second place.
Okay.
I actually really like it. I don't know
bad.
why.
Yeah.
It's good. Works for me. So that one's a good one. Then if you go from there, so my number one slot was Coke Zero. I like Coke Zero because it tastes like Coke to me. And
I didn't realize it was aspartame. I had to look it up because I thought that was the whole reason I liked Coke Zero and that I didn't like Diet Coke is that I thought, Diet Coke is saccharin, right? Or saccharose or whatever
the Diet Coke and Coke Zero they're just two different formulas, but they both use aspartame.
They're both aspartame?
I believe so.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah, see, Mandela effect in your drinks. That's what's going on.
Well, no, I mean this is just flat out misleading. It was I think I made an assumption about I don't think there was ever a time that I felt like I was told it was a different thing. I just assumed it was a different thing. All right, well, it's Diet Coke.
I assumed it was because it tasted different, and so you're not wrong to feel that way.
Exactly.
I had the same sense until I started looking this stuff up.
Yeah, Telly's or else says Diet Coke is sucralose.
Yeah, but so is Coke Zero, right?
I thought we said that was aspartame.
No. Sucralose is what aspartame is. It's the kind of sugar it is, right? The kind of sweetener it is.
Okay.
I think.
What's Splenda?
Zero is aspartame. Oh, Splenda is just diarrhea.
Splenda's sucralose. It's diarrhea. That's if you overdo it. I think Wendy, you're talking about the runny guts.
Yeah, it's bad. You know what that is? I learned more about that too. Those are called alcohol sugars. So basically, they're like fermented sugars. So that's why they fool you into thinking that that's just like sugar that tastes great, but they do not go well in your guts. Your guts don't like them. So that's why Splenda just goes.
Interesting. Okay.
Splenda, stevia. They all sound like things Google almost named Stadia. It's all the same words. So it drives me crazy.
Right.
Anyway, aspartame is NutraSweet. That's correct. Okay, so the Coke Zero, I'm a fan. I like that already.
That's new. Now you're number 2.
Yeah. So my number one. So the way it was number 1 was Coke Zero, then Diet Dr. Pepper, third, whatever. There's no third. Now they've all shifted a slot. Diet Dr. Pepper at third. Coke Zero, just plain old Coke Zero, number 2. Number 1, Coke Zero Cherry.
Really?
That is that is my new jam. If I go out to eat, I hope they either have it, and if they don't, I'll get a can for a different meal or whatever. But that's my go-to, is the Coke Zero Cherry. Cherry is Coke Zero, I guess, or however you say it.
Yeah.
It's very good. So out there, that's what I'm going to put out there. Now, this is not Scott saying, hey, drink diet drinks all day. I'm not saying that.
Well, of course not. No.
I'm saying that if you, you cut sugar out of your life and you're like, man, I just need that bite from something once in a while somewhere. Like, think of it as like, some people are alcoholics with their diet drinks and they drink 44 ounces a day and get kidney stones by noon.
What?
Yeah.
They're alcoholics with their diet drinks?
No. I guess I'm saying the comparison. Like if you're
diet drinkaholics,
yeah.
Like they.
If you're a diet drinkaholic, you're drinking 44 ounces in the morning. You fill it up in the afternoon. You're drinking more.
Sure.
And you have more kidney stones than you do sands of the earth, right? And then but on the other hand, just like with the world of alcohol, you have people like Brian who just go to a party and drink a little and go home.
Right,
And
exactly.
you know the difference.
Usually.
Yeah, usually.
Unless it's a special occasion.
Yeah.
Like Saturday.
Could be right. Or
Saturday night at Ibbot's house.
exactly. Or crazy
Yes.
neighbor if he's involved somehow.
Now, okay, so now you've done the zero sugar. I guess I need to try. Oh, that'll be a good one to clip out.
Yeah.
I need to try the Coke Zero cherry because I do like the Coke Zero orange vanilla, and you've tried that, right? And
yes,
that,
and it's good too.
that
I like it too.
Didn't make it up in the top.
You know what?
the
We'll
top
give it fourth, but I think it would be fourth even if it was all sugar and it was the version without. In other words, that combination of flavors I like, but it's not my favorite just in general.
Now let me ask you this, because
Yeah.
this is a recent discovery that they've added to the AMC theater freestyle machines. Because we'd either do water or we'd do a Coke Zero
Right.
orange vanilla.
Right.
Out of those things.
Right.
They've started to get Pib Zero.
Mm.
And I think Pib Zero is what Diet Dr. Pepper wants to be when it grows up. Because it's the soft drink that tastes as close to its sugary counterpart for me. To where I feel like, I would never like, at least Coke Zero, you're drinking a Coke Zero, especially if you drink a Coke and then have a Coke Zero.
Right. You know the difference.
Because I've done that where Tina and I we'll go somewhere where they do actually have zero as opposed to Diet Coke.
Yeah.
And they'll bring our drinks, and then I'll say, "Oh, this tastes really sweet to me," and she'll say, "Oh, let me try it." Yeah, I think I've got the Coke Zero, and we swap.
Yeah.
But if they were to have Pib and Pib Zero, I don't think we'd be able to tell which is which.
See, that's interesting. I didn't give Pib the shot, so I'll give that a shot. I'll try
We
it.
can't find it. We can't find it in cans. The only place we've been able to find it in Denver here is at the AMC theater. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to take one of those big orange coolers that you see on the back of construction trucks.
Oh yeah.
Take it with us to AMC, and just maybe we'll dress it up like a child, and we'll carry it around. We'll buy it a movie ticket,
Probably.
and we'll bring it to the theater, and then we'll just fill it up with Pib Zero, seal it up, and
How realistic are you gonna go? You just gonna make that the torso of the kid and have legs and arms and stuff?
it'll
on
have
it,
little
or-
legs. Yeah, the legs will be like pants stuffed with newspaper, and
Okay.
little shoes with LEDs on them.
All right, you give them like a really cool wheelchair so people feel bad for the kid and that sort of stuff.
That's
so
right.
they're not.
3 for Trolls 2, please.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And they'll say, "Oh, you know what? Your little one can go for free. Are you okay there, buddy?"
he's a lap child. Yeah.
Mhm. Exactly. That's the only way you can do it without people looking. And then later, when you hook your child to a hose and then the other end to the drink dispenser, no one will notice.
No one will notice. Exactly.
It'll be fine. But anyway, I'll try that. Sure. We
Try
have
the
that
Pib
same
Zero
machine.
when you get a chance.
Yeah, we have that same machine at our theater over here, so I'll give that a shot.
Cool.
Then the other thing I was going to say what was the other thing I was going to say? I was going to say that, here's a neat, weird thing that happens to you when you dump sugar altogether and then you try these drinks. Because I'm not drinking the sugary stuff, I've lost the ability to know the difference. So when we get something that's like in a cup with a lid, and they're supposed to push down the things to say whether it's diet or not.
Right, the little button, the little plastic.
And if
tab,
if they forget to do that, it may still be the right drink, but you just aren't sure. And so that's happened before. And then Kim and I are like back and forth, and I'm like, I can't tell. So if it's just me, I could get screwed and drink 32 ounces of the worst thing ever.
Oh, see, now I'd know Coke versus Coke Zero or even Diet Coke. Like Coke, when I've had a sip of Tina's, like you said, accidentally, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, this is super sweet.
Well, if I sip the other one, yes, but I haven't done that,
gotcha.
right? So without sipping it, I don't really know if what I've got is zero. So Kim will go, well, here, let me try it. And then she'll say, oh, yeah, yours is definitely zero. Or in one case, they just full on gave me the wrong drink. And she's like, ooh, that's definitely real Coke. And I'm like, all right, I'm not drinking that. So I guess as long as I'm testing it, which shouldn't hurt me, obviously, just a little test.
No, I need to go stick my finger down my throat and
You could do it like snake venom.
Expel the Coca-Cola from my system.
I'll do it like snake venom. Suck in a little bit, swash it around, spit it out. That's how you do it. Just hork it up. Anyway, the point is, if you're like me and you're trying to improve your lifestyle that way, but you just got to have a sip of the good stuff. Right now, Coke Zero Cherry is my pick of the week. It's very good. Very good.
I will give that a shot.
All right, a shout out to one of our own.
Yes.
Zoe brings
Who's also
bacon.
celebrating a birthday today.
Oh, I didn't know that. Well, that's fantastic.
Yes.
Happy birthday, Zoe. Zoe brings bacon in our chat room. One of the nicest, kind-hearted people I've ever met. She's very sweet and wonderful. Coming to Vegas, we hope. I think.
Mm-hmm. She is. Yep, confirmed.
She has been. She did a post in the Tadpool on Facebook. I'm not going to get into a bunch of details because maybe she doesn't even want me to. But anyway, I know that she's dealing with a thing, and I wanted her to know we were thinking about her. And my wife wants to figure something out. She wants to get like a. I don't know. She wants to figure some kind of bacon-related thing to send to you in the mail. And I told her we'd try to figure it out. I don't know what we're gonna do, but anyway, everyone's thinking about you. That's what you're dealing with sounds hard, and you're obviously doing exactly what the doctor ordered. But I hope it's swift and quick and painless, and you get lots of time to watch stupid content that we make during your time down.
And just don't let those roofing materials bring you down.
Yeah. Maybe we'll send her like a whole pig and then she can make all the bacon she wants. How about that?
Okay. Is that, can we do this? UPS, how we send a whole pig?
I don't know. They do that maybe?
Does she have the materials at home to
cure the meats?
To process that down into the delectable treat known as bacon.
In our fridge right now, we have the rear end of an actual pig in the freezer that we bought. So Taylor and Dylan bought a pig, but they wanted to split it.
Favorite Matt Damon movie, by the way. We bought a pig.
We bought a pig, and so they bought a third of it. We bought a third, and then I think Dylan's dad bought the other third. But it's an actual pig that was like raised here in the valley. Humanely, the whole point of it was like, oh, they're grass-fed, humanely raised. They eat Twinkies the last week of their life, that kind of thing.
I don't think that's good.
I think that, well, it's not good for the pig.
By the way, which third? Who got the third with the head?
Oh yeah, I don't know what happened to the head. I meant to ask. Who eats the head, or what happens to the head? They just throw it out?
Should get the head.
Do they just throw it out? Do you think, or what? There's meat.
I don't know. I think there's probably stuff that gets made from the head, maybe rawhide treats or something. I don't know, like something. Oh yeah, jowls, pig jowls, sure.
Yeah, and the ears. The dogs chew on the ears, pig ears, right? Isn't that a thing?
Right. That's what I'm thinking. Dog treats for some of that. Anyway, okay. So you've got the butt of a pig.
Yeah, we have the rear. We have a bum of a pig, and we're supposed to slice it up and make various kinds of pig meat concoctions out of it, and I was wondering if I could do bacon out of it, and I don't know how bacon works.
Yeah, does
you just strip it out?
Does bacon come from the Boston butt? Is basically what what we're asking. Or I think it comes from the shoulder, doesn't it?
I don't know. So that's a great question. Where does? Okay, now we're gonna find out.
So pulled pork, like when you get like a pulled pork sandwich, that's pork butt. Like that's
yes, I think so. Right?
Yeah.
They shred up the butt, is what they do.
Okay, here's let's see, so...
Oh, it says prepared from several cuts of meat, typically from the pork belly.
Bacon is the belly. Oh, pork belly, duh, of course, bacon is the belly.
But there's also some from the back, it says, and... Okay, so I guess it kind of depends. So that's just thin strips of pig meat.
It's funny that pork butt, I didn't realize this, pork butt is the shoulder, not, thank you, Bagheera and Zegon, that what's called pork butt, when you get Boston butt or pork butt from the grocery store, it's actually from the upper part of the shoulder.
Oh, so what's his back end then? The elbow? Like, what is that?
Pork ass.
Pork ass.
Pork ass. That would be the leg, and the leg meat.
Haunch? Hump? Heart? There's another H word.
Not the hock.
Hock is what I'm thinking.
No, hock is the foot.
Oh, a ham hock is a foot?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, is it actually the ham? So the butt's the ham? Oh, right. It is the ham because that's where the leg goes down into.
Oh, sure. Okay, right. Yes.
I guess I have a ham in the fridge. That's all.
Doesn't sound not as fun, right? Like to say, I've got a ham in the fridge. Like,
yeah.
The butt of a pig.
Yeah, it's more fun to say his ass is in the
fridge.
More
fun to say the butt of a pig is in there, but yeah, it is right. It's really just you've got a ham.
Okay, I have a ham. Never mind then. I'm not going to make bacon out of the ham. Never mind. I'm just going to probably have ham. But anyway, Zoe, the point is, Zoe, we're thinking about you.
That's right, all this came from Zoe.
We're just thinking about you. We hope you're okay. And yeah. Also, she put out actually a pretty good PSA. in the Tadpole. So if you're part of the Tadpole Facebook, go check it out because it's good, like nice warning sign of a thing that if you notice something weird, go get it looked at. And this isn't. I'm not telling everybody she has cancer or anything. It's not that. But it's just a thing that a
temporary thing that's treatable, and she'll be over it soon.
Yeah.
And
you just got to get on it quick.
Big hug in Vegas.
Yeah, you just got to get on it quick. That's all.
I think what we've learned here this morning, Scott, is that
up?
you and I seem to know a lot more about Coke Zero than we do actual natural pork products.
Oh, 100%, right? Like I don't know nothing. I do know that the best ham I ever had was soaked in Dr. Pepper overnight. I do know that. So that's
now you got to have it soaked in Diet Dr. Pepper.
Do you ever do? Oh, I wonder if you could do that. Is that weird?
Sure, you could. I wonder if the
what if it would
when heated?
Yeah.
If when heated, it would turn something.
That'd be bad.
Different.
You have like crystalline entity in your fridge. I don't know if that would work or not, but a Dr. Pepper overnight soak for all kinds of meat, steak, whatever.
Yes, that's a great marinades. Have you ever done a
so good
a Dr. Pepper chicken where you take the can of Dr. Pepper and you basically put it on the grill? People do this with beer cans too. Like they'll put it on the grill and then put the chicken over it so that the heat boils the Dr. Pepper and it kind of cooks the inside of the chicken.
Oh no, I've never done that. I would do that though. Totally would do that.
Yeah.
That sounds good. Wait, are you saying the can's on the grill?
Yes.
And then you shove
the chicken
the
goes
chicken,
over the can.
And that goes
basically
up the
shoving the
chicken's
can
butt.
up the chicken's butt. Yes.
Wow. And it's not meant to blow the can. The can's open, right?
The can is open. You open the can.
All right. You're not trying to explode the can in there or something.
Oh God, no. No, that's why you open the can.
Have you ever done
You could probably take a pencil and shotgun the the can into the side of the chicken, but
well, how about the people that take a watermelon and just jam it full of hose a bunch of vodka inside and then
sure.
Is that a thing you can do?
That's a thing you can do.
Yeah, you ever done that?
I have had some of that, and I didn't enjoy it as much as just a nice slice of watermelon. You know what? Give me the slice of watermelon. Give me the vodka separately. I'm fine with that. Though that's two things that I don't need to infuse.
Yeah, I feel.
I don't need to lace that. Thanks.
I feel like I'm with you. All right. Well.
Oh, look at that! Amazon actually has a chicken holder that holds the can. Oh, there you go. That's cool.
Oh, okay. So this is a common thing.
It's a common thing, yeah.
Let me look at this real quick here. I just want to see this. Oh yeah, look at that. Oh, all right. That would be a good apparatus to have, I would bet. It's called the Old Smoky Beer Can Chicken Holder. $22.50 Canadian dollars. Is that a good deal? I don't know.
I have no idea.
Nope.
I don't know. I mean, how much is just getting the can and shoving it up the chicken's butt, really?
Just the cost of the chicken in the can. That's it.
Right, exactly.
Oh, there's a whole bunch of these kinds of things down here. Look at all this stuff. Jalapeno grill rack with beer can roaster.
That one that's got like a flat pan kind of looks really cool.
Mm-hmm. Was it catch all the juice? Is that the deal there?
Yeah.
And then what do you do with that? What do you do with the juice?
Well, I think it again steams around the outside of the chicken then to kind of keep the outside moist as well, as opposed to like the steam just rolling off and going into the bottom of your grill.
Kim made, I almost forgot to mention this, she made a giant, huge cauldron thing yesterday with 2 whole chickens in it.
Was it to feed the whole raid?
No.
Okay.
She prepared a feast for the raid. Everybody's got plus 50 agility now. No, it was like a big giant pot with 2 full chickens in it, a whole bunch of onions, and I can't remember what all. There's some like recipe that somebody from New Orleans sent her. Anyway, the whole idea is what you're making is called chicken tea. So this sounds really weird, but basically it's just broth. It's not really tea. But it's the way you cook it, how long you cook it, and the kind of stuff you put in there. When you're done, you have this very refined, clarified chicken broth, that you put that in a little cup, you heat that way up and sort of sip on it, and apparently it's like the greatest thing ever. So we haven't actually tried
like
it yet.
Soup, basically.
Yeah, it's basically that, but it's like they had all these chicken
broth,
tea
sure.
or something, and it looks like chicken broth to me. Later today, we're gonna try it. We'll let everybody know what we think of it. It's not gravy.
Is this on a skim?
Yeah, we'll probably talk about it on Skim. That's a good idea. I don't know if we should. We may not do it live on Skim, but I don't know. Maybe we will. Maybe we will. I don't know.
Speaking of which, did you also? So by now you should have gotten that package from. I'm gonna get his name again because I've forgotten it. Mike Savaria.
I have gotten no boxes since. Well, we didn't get yesterday's stuff that might be in the box holder thing outside because it was so cold we didn't do it. So that may be out there today. Yeah. Okay. I'll check. First thing after the show, I'll go out there and grab it.
I'm pretty sure. God, I hope he sent it. I'm pretty sure he sent it to both of us. Yeah, because he.
Maybe he only likes you. Maybe it's just you. Maybe it's just a Brian thing.
Oh, he does. He says, "Don't tell Scott about any of this, and all this is for you." And don't tell him.
Yeah. See.
No, but we got Johnny Cake meal. We got chow mein mix because you do it on a bun for like the way they do it in wherever he's from, Westport, I believe. Yeah. Anyway,
where's Westport? Where's that?
Somewhere in the East Coast.
Okay.
Connecticut is what I want to say, but I think I'm wrong. Massachusetts.
Connecticut. Excellent. Well, we will watch for that because I do definitely want to. We haven't had a good package in a while, so.
No, we have.
Let's make that happen.
No, but I hear Scott Johnson's got a nice unit.
I have a nice unit. This is absolutely true. All right, let's dive headlong into what we like to call the news. Time for the news, brought to you by.
Hey, Skipper. Current Geek, check it out tonight, where tonight Tom and Scott take apart the Gilligan's Island pilot and find out what's inside. I don't know why he sounds like Ernie. He sounds just like Ernie.
Hey, Bert.
Hey, Bert. Hey, Bert. Check out currentgeek.com and get the show.
I mean...
Yeah, I cannot do it. I cannot do a Gilligan.
I'm going to say, I don't think it's that... Maybe he does sound like Bert or Ernie.
Hey, Skipper. He's just kind of this dopey, like, hey.
Yeah, it's more like, hey.
But if you add too much bass, then it turns into Ernie. Hey, Bert.
I think I saw Ginger's nipple. Here's the thing.
You got to keep it less bassy. Hey, Skipper.
Here's the weird bit. Tom's already seen it, and he texts me, and he says, "Oh, I guess we talked about this yesterday. Ginger's not there. Neither is Marianne. It's Bunny and some other lady, and she's not a movie star. And it's also set in like a slightly different kind of island, and like it's very different than the show that came. So I'm excited.
I wonder how long the distance is, the time between recording or filming the pilot and then filming the actual first regular episode. And you wonder, like, you know, obviously sets are gone, things have been dismantled, taken apart. Oh, we need a new island backdrop. I think the outside, I could be wrong on this, but I think the outside is an island you can see from the coast of Long Beach.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
The island with the palm trees and stuff. I think I could totally be wrong on that.
Because I know a lot of the actual filming they did on a stage, right? It was
they did, yes. But when they do like exterior shots, like basically in the opening scene, the opening credits, you see the island kind of sitting there. And I think it's an island you can see from being on the beach at Long Beach.
Oh, I kind of want to see it now.
Yeah. It was a year later. Wow, it was a year between the filming of the first episode.
That's not uncommon though. You know, like the pilot process is a pain in the butt. Like we were watching the Dick Van Dyke pilot, and it's totally different cast. Like nobody's the same. It's in fact Rob Reiner plays the Dick Van Dyke role. Not Rob Reiner, his dad, Carl Reiner. Who created the show. He plays Rob Petrie, and then his wife is not what's her name. It's some totally other lady. The kid's totally different, and then the two funny people he works with, can't think of their names all of a sudden. Buddy and Sally.
Sally.
Two totally different actors, like not even remotely the same as the actors that ended up being in there. And that was just that was freaking weird to watch.
That is really weird. Looking at the thanks Captain Kipper, who just connected us to the Wikipedia article. Only 4 of the characters. So Gilligan, Skipper, and the Howells are the only 4 characters to come from the pilot. So not even the professor.
Oh my gosh! Really?
Yes.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
He was a high school teacher played by John Gabriel.
Wow.
Listen, Jesse, we're gonna get off this island.
What did Russell Johnson do? Oh, look, man, he lived a long time. I didn't realize Russell Johnson just died a couple of years ago.
He did, yeah.
I thought he lived longer. All right.
He lived long enough to write the book that's sitting behind me here on Gilligan's Island somewhere.
He's 89 years old, or was.
Was.
Yeah. All right. Here's your news. Man tried to seduce an undercover officer with a chicken Alfredo.
Really, is there? Do we need anything beyond beyond that? Is there more story to tell? It feels like
slightly.
It feels like all the questions that could get asked are answered in that headline.
Yeah, asked and answered. Man tries to deduce this thing. It's an Ashtabula man, county man. Ashtabula County man who tried to seduce an underage victim with chicken Alfredo and Sprite will serve 7 days in county jail. Albert Maruna, now 23, was arrested in Austintown. In an Austintown sex sting. Sex sting. It's nothing like it.
Sting. Yeah.
Sex sting. Back in December, he thought he was talking to a 15-year-old boy online, but it was actually an undercover Austintown police officer.
Oops.
Maruna arranged to meet the officer in Austintown. He planned to bring Lubricant, Sprite, and chicken Alfredo to the date. I like that they got Lubricant out first.
Lubricant. Right, exactly. He planned to bring lubricant.
Lubricant. He'll be on house arrest for 120 days and then have to register as a tier 1 sex offender. Don't you actually also go to jail for this? Like, what's the deal there? House arrest?
I guess not. No, 120 days house arrest. Only because it would have been worse had he not offered to bring the chicken Alfredo. Like, a Sprite and lubricant? Oh, yeah, you're going to the camp.
Yeah.
30 days in the hole for Sprite and lubricant. But chicken Alfredo, we're going to lessen your sentence to...
Did you have to say 30 days in the hole? Did you have to say that? that had to be part of this, I guess.
That's where the chicken Alfredo came from.
Yeah, I wonder. I mean, it would have been a real bummer if he showed up with the chicken. It was chicken and lubricant and then a bottle of Alfredo, and he got it mixed up. Like, oops.
Wait, Sprite Zero, you're out of here.
Oh, I haven't tried any Diet Sprite stuff. I should try that. Those aren't any good. I don't really like Sprite anyway. Sprite and 7-Up, they remind me of when I was sick when I was a kid. If I was ever sick, this was my mom's number one home remedy, is to go get Sprite
7-Up and
or
ginger ale, yeah. I had one of those.
Yep. That's the generation we grew up in, or that was our parents' generation. Diet Sprite is gross, says Benjamin. I don't know. I can't, honestly, like I say, if I don't have them both there to compare, I don't know the difference now. It's a weird thing, because I used to just taste a diet drink and go, bah, how do you guys stand this? And now I haven't go, Coke. Like, I don't even think about it. It's really weird. All right, he says trust him. I'll trust you, Benjamin. I'll trust you.
Well, his Diet Sprite is gross, but
right.
Crimson Neon says Sprite Zero is good.
So they do make a zero? I didn't
they
know
do
that.
make a Sprite Zero, yeah.
And that's so this zero whole thing, all this zero stuff is just they're aiming it at men, right? I mean, that was the idea with Coke
it's a different
Zero.
formula. We were looking it up while we were talking about it, and people were saying no. One of them they both do have aspartame, but they have different amounts of aspartame, and some can mask the newer formula. The Zero formula somehow masks the flavor better.
With some other chemical that's probably bad for us. Yeah.
Right, exactly. Diet Coke only has aspartame. Coke Zero has aspartame and acesulfame potassium.
Acesulfame potassium.
Yes.
Jeez, that's Walter White shit.
That's delicious. You know, bring me more of that acesulfame potassium. Acesulfame. There we go. There's an L missing from J.C. Calhoun's.
All right.
Acesulfame potassium.
Well, I like it, and it pees out just fine.
Why is my pee blue?
How come my pee hurts? All right. Hey, check this out. This is some science. Oh, I love science. Let's do science.
Yes. Science.
A salamander didn't move for 7 years, and it turns out that's not unusual.
It's not unusual for your lizard to be still. Da-da-da-da-da-da. It's not unusual.
What's the next one? You got to rhyme it.
I was gonna say he won't move. He sometimes will.
Sometimes will. That's very good. I'm glad I'm now.
I see your iguana sitting on a log. It's not unusual. It happens all the time. I only have to round two lines in that song because the first two rhyme. Everything else doesn't.
Was it the John Mulaney joke was about that song or about the? Was that about?
No, it was What's New Pussycat.
Oh yeah, that's such a great
that
story.
That is the best.
Yeah, some of the best stuff ever. If you guys haven't seen that part of his stand-up, go seek that out. It's very funny.
Oh yeah. Just Google John Mulaney, "What's New Pussycat," and it's the best thing.
It's amazing. All right. Check this out.
Anyway, Salamander did not move for 7 years.
Yeah, which is not unusual. And we're back to where we were.
He's a docile reptile.
A rare Olm salamander, as soon as how you say it, OLM. Olms for the poor. Reportedly stayed in the same spot in its cave in Europe for 7 years, according to researchers. They say this in a new study. Such inertia apparently isn't uncommon for the species, as divers documented the movements of Olms in Herzegovinian caves, found that over a decade, many of the animals tended to move less than 33 feet in total in their entire lives.
Wow.
Jeez. They are hanging around, doing almost nothing, says György Balázs at Estavos Lorand, University in Budapest.
Oh, it's a Hungarian name. György Balázs.
See, you know, because you have family.
Or György Balázs.
When you're family, you're...
With your family, you're Olive Garden.
You're Olive Garden. What? Yeah, that's wrong. It says the Olms, or as they're known in the science world, Proteus anguinus. Angrianus. What is that?
Anguinus.
Anguinus. Oh, I don't.
Proteus anguinus.
Anguinus is an uncomfortable word to say. Anguinus.
Yeah, anguinus.
Anguinus. Yeah, I don't like it.
Or anguinus. Maybe you don't have to. Maybe we don't have to emphasize the gween so much. Just anguinus.
Locals call them baby dragons. They spend their entire life in underground waters of the Dinactic Alps during or running from Slovenia through Croatia and several other Balkan countries. According to the New Scientist, the blind cave-dwelling animals are forced to move to mate. Aren't we all, though?
Yeah, really.
Every time I've mated, I had to move. There's no holding still.
Which they do about every 12 years because they're married.
Yeah. 12 years a mater. It says here, according to the study that was published in the Olms are not highly gregarious, have no predators, and are highly resistant to starvation, able to go without food for several years and live in complete darkness underground and underwater. I kind of want to be one of these guys. If let's just do the reincarnation idea. If you're going to come back as some animal, wouldn't it be nice to come back as one that can go a long time if it needs to, not eating, and doesn't have predators? Like, you're just going to live. You'll live your time.
I'd rather be the predator, and I'd rather have some like cool ability that I don't have now. I can sit still now, Scott, and not mate for 12 years. But give me all right, make me a falcon or a hawk or an eagle, something I can fly, and I'm a predator and I eat the things.
But don't they
instead of being the thing that gets eaten?
But they have predators too. Usually us,
sure.
Right? They're
usually us,
humans.
right,
yeah.
Exactly.
I don't know. Maybe we're okay at the top of the food chain. It's fine.
I want to fly. I want to fly, Scott. Let me fly. I just want to fly.
I was thinking all the fly songs are all coming together at once.
Right.
What's the one by the pervert? What's his name? That like captured girls and stuff. What was his name? He's still around. He did the I believe I can fly.
Oh, R. Kelly. R. Kelly, yes. Yes.
I believe
I was trying to think of like Gary Glitter. Did Gary Glitter do a song about flying? But
there's a lot of perverts in the music world.
There are a lot of perverts.
Yep.
Yes.
They're all out there. I think the lyrics originally were I believe I can fly, I believe I can touch the girl. I mean the sky.
I believe I can pee on the sky.
Yeah, I mean go touch the sky, not pee. He had to keep correcting himself. Yeah, he's the one that peed on people, that's right.
That's right, yeah.
He's gross. Why you got to be that way? Why you got to do that, man? Why you got to pee on people?
Everybody's got their thing. If he would have just peed on an adult, it wouldn't have been a problem.
You know what? Yeah, okay, so this is my take. Consenting adults, do whatever you want. I don't care. Just don't, freaking kidnap people and pee on them. That seems
right.
That seems obvious, right? Doesn't it seem obvious he wouldn't want to be doing that?
It does seem kind of obvious. It seems like we should know this.
Yeah. I don't know how many people are peeing on each other all the time, but knock yourselves
you know
out
what?
if you're consenting adults. I don't care. Go for it.
Exactly. Pee, poop, whatever. Do it in the privacy of your own home. Just make sure that you're both in agreement that is what you want.
And don't invite me over for anything. I don't want to come. I don't even look. If you're doing that in the living room the night before, don't have me over there for cocktails and wieners. I don't want to be anywhere near you. You're gonna pee.
Choice of words there. Cocktails and wieners.
I I don't want to go. I don't want to have an Oscar party at their house.
No.
Ugh.
We're having an Oscar party here on Sunday, and I completely forgot about that when I said that we could move a lot of Tristan and Kay's stuff into the front room to get it ready to move out in a week. So we have our old couch.
Yeah.
We have a desk that they got and fixed up from Crazy Neighbors. They've got a table that we bought for them, so they have a dining table. All this sitting in the front room next to where we're going to be having our friends over for an Oscar party. Fortunately, these are the friends who always come over every year for our Oscar party, Scott and Kathy.
Yeah, they're pretty chill.
And they're pretty chill. They won't care. They'll totally get it.
Yeah, they're not going to care. Who's going to care?
Right. Nobody cares.
Nobody
They don't
cares.
care. Who
Nobody
cares?
Nobody
Nobody
cares. So let me ask you this. That is this Sunday,
Yes.
isn't it? That is happening this
It is
Sunday.
this freaking Sunday. And
I forgot.
I know.
All right.
I want to watch a couple more things. There's a documentary on Netflix about resignation syndrome, I think is what it's called.
Resignation
where
syndrome.
it's this thing in Sweden. Let me see if that's right.
That's where Midsummer.
Yeah, resignation syndrome, that basically these kids are going into a catatonic state after suffering trauma. So their parents actually have to like walk them around and get basically move their life. There it is. Life Overtakes Me is the name of it.
I haven't heard of
Swedish American short film, how hundreds of refugee children in Sweden withdraw into a coma-like illness called resignation syndrome because of the uncertainties of their legal status. And it's nominated for a short subject documentary. But
there's like a huge article on this on Wikipedia.
Yeah.
They call it Uppgiven syndrome. Is the Swedish version? Also dissociative disorder. I've heard Wendy talk about that.
Dissociative disorder. Yeah.
Yeah, and it brings on a catatonic state. Interesting.
Yeah. So anyway, I want to watch. It's a 40-minute documentary short subject. I want to watch that before the Oscars too, because that's it sounds amazing. Well, so it doesn't sound amazing. Sounds powerful.
Sounds super interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
When my sister comes on, I may ask her about that name. I'm just curious about it.
What resignation syndrome, especially since she was in Sweden.
Yeah, I was gonna say she was there, right? She should have some stuff. Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Free Hotel Room still writing comics, by the way. If you see this in the chat, he's just
Fred
constantly
and can
writing.
idea for Fred buys more cans of cream corn, same brand as can, brings them home. None of them can speak. How about this one? Fred shoves can up the butt of a chicken, tries cooking on the barbecue.
Man, this comic writes itself.
Ends up with dry chicken.
Yeah, this comic writes itself. What am I even doing? Well done. Why is this clipped out, Pops and McCline? Hold on. What is this? Hold on. I don't know how many people are peeing on each other all the time, but knock yourselves out if you're consenting adults. I don't care. Go for it.
Exactly. Pee, poop, whatever. Do it in the
Brian had to bring the poop in there. That was
pee, poop, whatever you need to do. Sure.
Pee poop.
Exactly.
Pee poop.
Pee poop. Pee poop.
Pee poop. All right, here's a story about a Florida troopers found narcotics bag labeled "bag full of drugs."
Well, sure.
That's great. That's great.
Accidentally have it labeled coffee creamer.
Yeah, exactly. Two men were not discreet in their plans to sell drugs in the Florida Panhandle. This is a Florida story. The Florida Highway Patrol arrested two drug traffickers after troopers pulled them over on Saturday and found drugs in a bag labeled "bag full of drugs."
You know, I'll say this about the Florida Highway Patrol. They're real troopers.
They really are troopers, aren't they? Just pushing through, being real troopers. If I were them, I would have just said drug bag.
I would have put not a bag full of drugs.
That would have fooled those troopers for sure.
Exactly. This bag is labeled not a bag full of drugs. I guess it must not be not a bag full of drugs.
Wow. Troopers made the discovery after the men were pulled over speeding on I-10. The Santa Rosa County Sheriff's Office assisted in the search for the vehicle, which turned up methamphetamine, GHB, also known as the date rape drug,
roofies,
cocaine, MDMA, and fentanyl.
Oh.
Fentanyl is the one that the doctors put you out with, right? Is that the deal?
Yeah. Well, there's fentanyl and fentanyl, and fentanyl is what Prince OD'd on, right? But it's separate. It's a different thing than fentanyl.
Oh, that was Michael Jackson that died.
Oh, was it Michael Jackson? It might have been Michael Jackson.
As I feel like Prince's OD was prescription painkillers. I don't remember now. I've conflated those two deaths. I don't know how.
No, Prince was he OD'd on fentanyl.
It was fentanyl
as well.
Okay.
Yeah. But they might have both done it actually.
Yeah. That's a bummer, isn't it?
Yeah. So all right, so they labeled the bag full of drugs. What happens when they take some of those drugs? Do they relabel the bag half full of drugs?
Yeah. What are you gonna write there now? Used to be full
of
drugs.
Half empty of drugs if they're pessimists.
A new label that says, "One day we hope this will be full of drugs again." Bag.
Back to reusable, recycled bag of drugs.
Well, look, they're worried about the planet, just like we are. Everybody wants to do their part, so it's fine.
It's a bag. Why even do that? Just put drugs on it.
I agree. Just type drugs.
Yeah, drugs.
Or write drugs. Or drug bag. Don't go for a whole sentence. Bag full of drugs.
It's obvious it's a bag. I don't. When I take my lunch to work, I didn't write Brian's bag of lunch.
Right. So we know it's a bag. We know it's full. We just need to know what's in it. Drugs. You're right. That's it.
We just know who it belongs to, and yeah.
Drugs, and then Larry Von Poo Poo Head up the road. Whoever owns it.
Right.
Anyway, this is a great line. The Santa Rosa County Sheriff's Office posted Monday night on social media the following. Note to self, do not traffic your illegal narcotics in bags labeled bag full of drugs. Our canines can read. So there you go.
Oh.
I don't know if that's true, but...
It's Florida.
You think that's true, though? Dogs can read? No.
Probably better than some of the people that they stop.
Yeah. It's actually good.
Dog says, yeah, you misspelled bag full of drugs. two L's in full.
Uh-oh, you misspelled it again.
Uh-oh. You misspelled full.
I smell bacon. All right. My dog, it doesn't matter what we're doing. If there's meat in the air, all bets are off. All other needs are not gone. Nothing else exists. Just her wanting to eat whatever's being cooked. And I hate it.
Yeah.
That's a dog. I know I realize that's just dogs. I get it.
It's just dogs. Yeah.
It just leaves me no hope that if I die and fall over, I give her a full day before she starts eating me.
You become meat in the air is what you are.
Yeah. I'll give her a 24 hours before she eats me. That's how it's going to go.
Right.
But then you know what? Kim and I had this conversation. I said, all right, we're always saying how if you die, your dog's just going to eat you. And oh, that's horrible. You think these dogs love you, but they really don't. They just want your meat. And then I got to thinking, if we had a true calamity, right? Let's say a nuke landed and somehow I survived and it was just me, Kim, and the dog. And we run out of food. We're probably going to eat the dog. Right? I mean, that's what happens.
Probably.
You have the survival thing kicks in, and then you are the one that's eating the other being. So
right.
It's not a good thing to talk about. But we
no,
talk
I
about
mean,
it.
yeah. Would you wait longer though than the dog would wait? That's the question.
Yeah.
To eat the other.
I think I would definitely wait longer because I don't want to eat a dog at all. Like period. No. Even if I didn't love the dog, I wouldn't eat it.
Yeah. And just because he eats you after you die doesn't mean he doesn't love you. He probably my master did one last thing for me. Mm-hmm. He sacrificed himself so I could survive.
Yep, he slumped over on the toilet and gave it up so I could eat him. All right, here's a final story for you listeners at home. A Fitchburg man.
Fitchburg.
Where is that?
It's just outside of Fitchland.
Fitchburg. It's the Fitsburgh Pirates.
Pirates.
Yeah.
The Fitchburgh Firates.
Yeah, Firates. I like that. Anyway, got arrested for...
Fitchburg is in Massachusetts.
Oh, Massachusetts. Okay. A Fitsburgh, Massachusetts man arrested for stealing a steamroller. He stole a steamroller. Not the Mannheim kind, but like the big one you'd put out in the street.
Oh, he didn't steal a delightful orchestrated Christmas music?
No.
Okay. All right.
Ugh, that stuff.
That had to be the slowest police chase ever, right? Actually, I think this is North Carolina.
Oh, is it?
Because
Okay.
it's the Sentinel and Enterprise, which...
You've been there? You been there?
I think I have. I think this is part of a newspaper group, or at least it was. And so I did Newbern, Fitchburg, and Wilmington all in one trip.
Those all sound
Boy,
like
it
real
sounds
things.
familiar.
Those sound like real things.
They're definitely real things. I just don't know if it's the same one. I'm trying to wow, it's a newspaper that's done in WordPress. Look at you guys.
Whoa.
Using that free software. Yeah.
Yeah, look at that. That's fancy.
It is.
Going out and getting that free software to get your site done.
That's right, exactly.
I guess you can still do that, right? You can still get your own server, fire up to PHP 6 or whatever it is now.
Yeah, sure.
All right. I used to be able to code a little in PHP. I used to actually create my own pages and stuff, and then I got hacked once, and I went, yeah, I can't do this. I clearly didn't have the security skills needed to.
Didn't have the SSL fired up on that one.
I did have SSL.
Oh, you did
for the site, but I was just bad with in how I how I managed the database and pulled data out and in. And
gotcha. Okay.
it's just like a lot of open hash stuff and all that. It was fun though. I was pretty good at it. I was good at the variable stuff, and I could just create some fun web stuff out of it. I don't know. I kind of enjoyed it, and then I was like, I don't want to do this, so I quit doing it.
Yeah, I do WordPress almost exclusively for the stuff that I do for clients when I'm setting up a site, but
they're good.
They're good. I don't do I haven't modified any PHP since the early days of the Coverville site when I needed some very specific stuff, and I had to learn where to copy and paste from to get the right code in that I wanted. But I probably did the same thing, opened it up to where it was fairly easy for hackers to slide in and do what they wanted.
Sure. Well, speaking of sliding in and doing what we want, we're going to slide a song in, and then we're going to get Wendy in here and talk about some stuff. Interesting letter today that we're going to be reading, but also I want to ask her about this resignation syndrome. So we'll get to all that in a minute.
Yeah.
Before that, though, you've brought a song, prepared it, and it's ready to go up the chicken's ass. Give it to her.
I have. Big thanks to the Syndicate, the entertainment marketing agency known as the Syndicate. I love these guys because it always feels like I'm getting some sort of top secret level email when I get music from them. The San Francisco Bay Area has spawned a band called The Session, S-E-S-H-E-N, Session. So don't spell it like you think you want to spell it. Spell it S-E-S-H-E-N. They've got a brand new album coming out at the end of the month, February 28th, called Cyan. And boy, I love this. Love the sound of this very 80s influenced, a very 80s electronic sound. They're fronted by, the singer lyricist Lalin Sate Just.
Whoa.
Says that she's describing a different song, so that really won't make much of a difference here. Anyway, song's great. Here's The Session from their brand new album Cyan, which drops at the end of the month. It's called Dive.
A missile powerful enough to blow up a giant meteor.
How cool is he?
This is the morning stream. AM!
How cool is he?
All right, we're back, everybody. By the way, that "How Cool Is He" thing, this right here.
How cool is he?
That's that girl at the end of yesterday's song. At the end,
really?
Yeah, I think she was talking about somebody else in the band or something while she was up on stage. There was a live thing that you had us play.
Oh, right. Okay.
And
cool.
there's just something cute about this voice. Listen to this voice.
How cool is he?
She just seems cute, like
That
a
was
little cute singer lady.
Sierra Bogus.
Yeah,
right?
the bogus lady.
The
yes.
Wildflowers.
Yeah, that's the one. Anyway, I
That's
liked
cool.
it, so I capped it.
Nice.
All
How
right.
cool is he?
It's time for Wendy. Let's see if we can get her in here.
It's time for Wendy. She's gonna therapize our Thursday.
Therapize. I like that.
Therapize.
That's what you. That's a good pie. Will help you feel better.
Would she consider changing her business cards to say, Wendy Dunford, therapizer?
Oh my gosh. I'm gonna guess no, but
No? All right.
I'm here to vote. I'm here for your idea. I like it.
Because if I saw that, I'd be like, ooh, a therapizer. I like that.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
Then you don't get the the stigma of having a therapist. No, I don't have a therapist. I go to a therapizer.
Yeah, therapizer. Ooh, fancy. Tell me what the difference is. Well, at my therapizer, he helped me give up smoking for the first time ever. Ooh, I'm giving up therapy for Therapize. Yeah, I can see it now.
That's right,
This marketing writes itself. It's excellent stuff. All right.
Free Hotel Room is already working on a Fred and Can that is going to
that involve therapizing. Good.
that focuses on therapizing. Yep. Just wait. Just wait. It's coming.
Bob, keep those coming. Just keep feeding them in. We'll find a place for them. All right. For some reason.
Yeah, we will.
For some reason, no answer. Let me see if I can raise her on her phone. She may be tied up or something. Okay. Let's see what she says here.
Oh, Wendy, where are you?
This chair I'm using needs better butt pad.
I've got one of these.
What do you got there? Oh, look.
These guys right here. Like a super squishy foam unit that doesn't and it doesn't put pressure on your spine.
Oh, this is great. Oh, wow. Whoa.
How's this for a gift?
Hello.
Oh, hey, Wendy. Hold on.
Sorry.
Real quick. No, you're fine. Hey, chat room. Somebody please clip that, please. I need to make a GIF out of it. Thank you very much.
Yes,
all
exactly.
right.
I figured you wanted that.
Yeah, that was amazing. Wendy, hi. How's it going? How are you? What are you doing?
Hi. I'm good. How are you guys?
I'm fine.
Good.
I had a dream about all of your kids last night. They were on a plane with me, and we were flying to the North Pole for some reason. And
Because you have to fly to get there.
yeah, and on the plane, we this is the weird bit. I told them all, you guys, it's going to take us like 10 hours to get there. I don't even know what we were going for. Maybe it was Christmas or something. But I said, maybe we can play some video games to pass the time. And they all lowered their heads down to the floor and said, and wouldn't say anything. I said, what's the matter? And they said, our mom won't let us. And then and then I woke up, and it was just a horrible dream, a terrible dream had happened. It was awful. Anyway.
Oh, that's not true at all. They get to play video games.
I know they do. That's the funny bit. Like, I don't know why I would dream that. That was actually
They
my
just
dream.
don't get to on planes.
Yeah, I guess so.
They get to. We flew whatever. It was a 7-hour flight. They literally got screens for 7 straight hours. The joy, they were so happy.
I'll bet that was.
I was like, I don't care. I'm tired.
Yeah, they were in heaven at that time. All right. Well, good to have you here. We're gonna talk about some stuff. Before we crank into this, though, Brian brought up a thing earlier that I wanted to ask you about called resignation syndrome, and in particular, this has a Swedish spin on it. Here on the Wikipedia description of this, and then the reason it came up is Brian's going to watch a short film based on it, right?
There's a documentary that's nominated for an Oscar this year that's all about it. A little 40-minute documentary on Netflix. That,
okay.
So here's the description.
That sounded interesting.
Yeah, here's the description. It says it's also called traumatic withdrawal syndrome or traumatic refusal. In Swedish, they have a certain word for it. They say it is a dissociative syndrome and can induce catatonic states. It was first described in Sweden in the 1990s, and apparently, let's see here, the condition affects predominantly psychologically traumatized children and adolescents in the midst of a strenuous and lengthy migration process. But young people can develop these depressive symptoms, become socially withdrawn, and become motionless and speechless in a reaction to stress or hopelessness. In worst cases, children can reject food or drink, blah, blah, blah. So, but they it very heavily points at Swedish culture and youth culture as a place where this is real bad. Did you hear about this or know about this while you were there?
Well, you got to understand the number of refugees and percentage of the population that has migrated to Sweden is high.
Yeah.
So it makes a lot of sense. That's where they would notice it.
Right. And this idea of just going like, you just become motionless or whatever. What do you even do? What do you do?
Okay, let's take failure to thrive as an infant version of this.
Okay.
It doesn't have to come from trauma and stress necessarily, but there is a biological response, like of not eating enough or sort of not moving a lot. We can see that often there can be just a neglect factor. Not every kid who has failure to thrive is because the family's doing something wrong. So let me be clear about that. But you can have versions like in orphanages back in the day, they would they started noticing, kids sort of dying when they weren't being touched, or having enough interaction and connection. And so you can die from not being touched. You have all your other biological needs met, but not this connective, emotional, whatever one, right?
Wow.
So the body has a way of just like, it's like giving up, because the will to live is sort of sucked out of it because there isn't the right inputs being put in, which would be some basic stuff like safety. So this resignation syndrome isn't related to not necessarily having food, access to food or not, though that may be one of the signs that they stop, But think about it for a moment. Okay, so take your most incredibly stressful thing you've ever experienced in your life.
Okay.
And then pile on top of it the most stressful trip you've ever had.
Okay.
And you are responsible for the lives of other people, and imagine having no idea where you're going. I mean, like, just if you can conjure in your imagination how terrifying it would be to flee somewhere where you are under the threat of death, to go somewhere you've never been, and then, to sort of survive that trek, but also then join this new culture and try to fit in. You're going to just have certain kids that are going to have sort of maybe the biological predisposition that it depends on what has happened to them, that the body just responds by going catatonic.
Wow.
And
That's
freezing.
crazy.
So it's just think of fight, flight, and freeze.
Yeah.
It's like, instead of a short-term version of that, it's that the system just gets broken down to the point where it's just frozen.
Wow. All right, so Brian, when you see this thing, maybe that'll give additional thoughts as you go into it, but I'm super curious about it.
It should be really, really interesting. A friend of mine watched it. He watched all the documentary short subjects as well and said it was really good. So
it says here, currently diagnostic criteria are undetermined, pathogenesis is uncertain, and effective treatment is lacking. So I guess it's still kind of a weird mystery thing.
Right.
But Sweden's, let's see. For a while, I guess in the 90s, Sweden, the government was taking measures that they thought it was contagious.
Oh, interesting.
So they were they were freaking
like
out.
like a virus,
bacteria,
yeah.
like a
right. And you would think that. Okay, so
right.
Right, and we have record and history of that happening in concentration camps, which makes a lot of sense why that would have happened there.
That's so weird. You said that exactly as I was reading it. I was right when you said the words concentration camps. I was just reading Nazi concentration camps. That's crazy.
Oh wow.
Sorry, that was a side thing.
Happens.
That has nothing to do with anyone.
Anyway, yeah, but that idea, and I understand just it. Kids at the Mexico border also, they're paying attention to what's happening there too. I mean, you put me on a vacation and give me a flat tire and everyone has to pee and there's no snacks left. You start to you can just taste a little of now times that by 3,000 and have it last consistently for a year. And most people would be catatonic. It doesn't,
So if you're let's say just you're depressed and the depression is so severe one day, you literally just can't get out of bed.
Yeah.
It's a form of that, right? Or it's a piece of that.
There's a connection. So anxiety is maybe a better example. Yes, definitely with depression, you can have that feeling of lethargy and you just can't move. But so much stress, and you both have probably been in this position before where you just are a little bit frozen and you just don't know which direction to start. There's too many things. And so you just kind of sit. That is a very, very minor part of or example of this kind of same thing. But notice they're mainly children that are struggling with this. It has a lot more to do with, first of all, the lack of power, right?
Right.
So you would have just the inability to make any difference in your condition. You're, first of all, being taken somewhere. You are, second of all, have little to no power. Your parents, if that's who you are with or whatever adults are around you in the same situation, are having, high levels of stress themselves and are probably not meeting anyone's psychological needs, let alone their own. So it's just a very dangerous, and we kind of think, they're going to go to this place and have a new life and everything will be great. But you have a lot of sort of self-harm and suicidal stuff that can happen.
Yeah, it's almost like we need to be
Interesting.
more empathetic to those who are migrating places and why they perhaps are being forced out of the places they're in and things. Might be nice for
Right.
us to be a little
You'd
more
think.
thoughtful about that sort of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool. I'd love to hear how the movie. That's cool.
Yeah, it's on Netflix, right, Brian?
It is. It's on Netflix. Yeah.
Life Overtakes Me, 2019, and it's up for an award on Sunday.
Exactly.
All right. Well, let's get to this email. Wendy passed this on to me as today's discussion, so I'm going to go ahead and read it. His name's here, but I don't know if I guess I could say it. I don't know. Maybe not. Anyway, it says, "Hi, Wendy. First and foremost, I want to say thank you for everything you've done. Listening to Therapy Thursday has been super insightful throughout the years, and it's honestly my favorite day of the week for TMS. Take that, Monday through Wednesday, you jerks."
Get you, Tom Merritt. I don't
Yeah.
even know who else is on.
No, that's true. Tom Merritt's on, Jury's on, Nicole, you know them all. But don't worry, they'll take no
Not
offense.
as good as you, though.
Yeah, you're
They
all
can
good.
take
guys. You're easily the most professional, I suppose. Anyway, it says, to the point, though, you don't know how weird an issue this is, or I don't know how weird of an issue this is. I'm not even sure I'll be able to explain it well enough. So throughout my life, I've had problems, but eventually I figure out those problems one way or the other. Sometimes I just get blind luck, and it seems to help me out the most. But I feel like me knowing some of these things as... Sorry. Okay, but I feel like me knowing some of these things as helpful hurts me more. It makes, if that makes any sense. It sort of does. Almost like knowing a placebo is a placebo. I was thinking that myself just before I read that. Anyway, I've heard things like, quote, if you don't want to raise your ambition, if you want to raise your ambition, do 20 small tasks a day and write them down so you can see how much you've accomplished. Or like when my aunt, who's a social worker, and she told me before I went on a flight, so sometimes I freak myself out with heights, that if I start getting anxious, a way to cool down the anxiety was by essentially just tapping your hands on your knees in a steady beat. That sounds like...
That sounds... Make fists with your toes, right?
Yeah, make fists with your toes, what I was thinking of, exactly.
Yeah,
From Die Hard, that great Christmas movie. Anyway, when I was on the plane and we hit turbulence and my anxiety spiked after being thrust out of my seat at least 6 inches in the air, I started freaking out. I could hear my heartbeat in my ears, etc. I remember that what my aunt said, but instead I just gripped the arms of the chair, closed my eyes, and focused on taking deep, steady breaths. Now that in itself can be a coping mechanism. I have no idea. I don't even know how to explain what I mean past that. My social worker aunt seems to think I have ADHD, which is possible. She had me take a test, and I guess there are that they use to determine if a person does at her offices. And my parents have been against medication since I was young, since they were a semi-religious family. That's weird, but maybe that's a certain kind of religion, right? Like Seventh-day Adventist or something. Anyway, maybe. I'm not even sure if this is a question. I just feel like coping mechanisms don't work for me. Thanks for everything you do, and then this guy's name. All right, so
real quick, I love that his aunt gives him a really stupid coping mechanism, and then he does the one that is actually a coping mechanism.
Oh wow!
Which is the deep steady breaths as opposed to
that was awesome, and it did make him feel better. But then he's wondering if it works for him. I love it. Anyway, sorry, I just find this email very nice. I like it.
Yeah.
All right, we give it a thumbs up. Thumbs up for this email.
Thumbs up for this one.
Yeah. So what do you do? Like if I have this feeling that I think I have a coping mechanism, but I'm not actually sure I believe it works. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, what's it like? Let me try to think of an example. Like, okay, here's one. I used to think that the best way for me to fall asleep was like long, steady breaths, 10 seconds maybe, where I just focus on the breathing and try not to listen to my head and all the things I have to do the next day or all the crap I'm thinking about or whatever, and just breathe through it. And I used to think that was super effective. And I find these days that it's just like near impossible. I get to like second number 5 and I'm thinking about, taxes. Or I get to second number 8 and then I think I'm almost there. And then I'm suddenly off on some tangent about, dogs or horses or I don't know, whatever's in my head. So I know that feeling of like, I think this works, but I don't really know if it does. And then everyone's ideas never seem to work. Like people are like, hey, you know what you need? You need some CBD oil. And then I'll try it and like nothing happens. It's like 0. I get nothing out of that. And then, and then the other day, here's a little follow-up to that. I took 2 doses of the CBD and that did work. Okay. that was like, oh, okay, well, I guess my thing is I just take double of everything. That doesn't seem healthy. So anyway.
It does not seem like the right thing to do. No.
So anyway,
Right.
so what do you want to do here with this one?
Okay, well, let's just start with this idea of like the speed of your thinking. Okay, you and this guy, and a lot of people, right? Which is you're able to process a lot of noise at one time, and it's distracting in there, right? So, okay, I know this is good for me. I'm not actually sure. I mean, you're literally having a philosophical debate about the effectiveness of something that you're going to try right then. I mean, that is like frenetic in your head. Okay. So it's like an asset that's gone scawampus a little bit, right? Like the fact that you can process a multiplicity of ways to think about one thing you're trying to do is probably a sign you're fairly intelligent, a sign that, you're a quick thinker, maybe a little ADD. Like there's some things going on maybe with that. But so it's this, it really backfires in this moment because if we know one thing works, it's the placebo effect, right? So you believing in CBD oil, Scott, is going to be crucial. But now that you aren't sure you believe in it, you're like, well, I don't know. But then you double your dose. Okay, now I believe. So this kind of, I'm repainting the same picture you just painted, which is you can make yourself feel a little bit nuts about, I'm supposed to do this. And there's always so many sources of try this, don't do this.
Right.
Like, for example, what's the thing that pops in your head when you think of a medical or some kind of instruction you've been given that has been completely flipped? So you've been told one thing and then it switches and then tells you now you're going to get cancer because you did this thing we told you. What pops in your head? Do you guys have one?
The one that popped in my head immediately was back when Dad was dealing with a case of diverticulitis in the 80s, that you couldn't ever eat seeds anymore, ever. And so he had to get off seeds. No more seeds for you.
Seeds?
Yeah,
Just
seeds. Like anything
nuts,
with seeds, nuts, seeds, anything like a
sunflower seed.
Yeah, or more specifically, little seeds like on a strawberry or something like. You couldn't have strawberries.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, you couldn't have seeds.
I remember wine was a big one. Like, make sure you have a glass of wine every day, or make sure you don't have a glass of wine every day, or eggs.
Yeah, or eggs are good, eggs are bad. Yeah, that whole thing.
Yeah.
But in my dad's case, like that turned out to be complete
seeds,
like
though,
the
geez.
complete reversal now. If you are diagnosed with diverticulitis, they say no, you need to eat more things that are good fiber, and seeds are part of that, and it's not a problem. Go get it. Go get your seeds. So it was a complete opposite thing, and I just, when I heard that, I felt bad. I went, oh man, Dad had to do all those months and months and months with like just the worst diet with no seeds, and it was all bland and bready, and that sucked.
I can't even imagine what all the things would be. Like that seems like it would be a hard one to say, oh, does this have seeds in it, right? Like you can say, okay, dairy or peanuts or whatever, but stay away from seeds. Like,
Was
how
there
do I
ever
know
a
what
seed?
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
So baby aspirin's the one I think of. It pops in my head of like, take one baby aspirin every day and it's going to save everything. And then they're like, you should probably stop the baby aspirin. You're like, wait, what? And I get, and this is tricky because science does not move linearly like we want it to. We want it to tell us exactly what to do, and then we do it, and then we want all the benefits from it. And so this is why you need more studies, and then you do meta-analysis of all those studies, and then someone discovers something new. That the challenge is to communicate how science really works to the rest of us is difficult when we just want to know, do I take that aspirin or not? Do I eat those seeds or not? Like my doctor said, do this. Now they say, don't do this. So then it kind of wears away at that trust when it really could never have intended to be so confident in the first place because it's still trying to prove what's good, right? So that is tricky, but what that does to our psyche is problematic. So everyone can kind of relate to maybe the medical part of this, but the mental health part of this is it's like the new kid on the block for this, right? Which is now, let me tell you, first of all, Google it. Okay. Google how to be happy, and what do you get? Literally 1 billion websites, right? 1 billion ways to do this thing. So are we getting better at the science behind it? Do we have a better idea about a lot of things? Yes, we do. Sorry, but we don't always get good advice by Googling or by talking to our aunt who's a social worker,
Mm-hmm.
or, so there's a bit of this, like, tell me what to do. I want it to work. I want to believe that, but then it just doesn't always work for the same people.
Mm-hmm.
So I just wanted to paint that like very confusing base for a lot of folks. And what they hear, sometimes we just go with the thing that feels like it's the right thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that makes sense to me, so I'm going to do that.
Right.
But sometimes what makes sense to us is like literally the worst thing we can do. It's just hard. This is hard. So everyone raise your hand if you're like, this hits a nerve. I hate this feeling. It happens with well-being for sure, and then physical health and vitamins or whatever.
Yeah, and you could also extend that to like people who've convinced themselves that vaccinations are going to give everybody autism, or people who've convinced themselves of anything. Like, if there's a conspiratorial aspect to this, if you start to hear that eggs are bad, eggs are good, eggs are bad, you start to lose trust in the sources that are telling you that, and now you're relying on sources like, well, what they don't want you to know is Big Egg is trying to you know what I mean? Like, you can just get real weird with it, and it's bad. It's bad.
Totally. And that's like, maybe we're all a little bit illiterate when it comes to really understanding how studies and research works and what that means. So when they say do this, that's a interpretation of the results of the study. And I don't know how you fix that, but the damage that gets done is that people get weary, right?
Yeah.
Of like, oh, right, I don't know what to believe. So going back to the emailer's point of, he did a coping strategy that is in the literature. Like, he did the right one intuitively and it helped him. And then he's confused. Like, did that actually work? Do I believe in these coping strategies or not? And so my argument would be this and this is tricky and it takes some time, and that is educate yourself on what's available to you. And then you have to practice them, and everything's going to be different. So Scott, you've tried CBD oil. You've tried it a bunch of times.
Yeah.
You've heard people that it is magical for, right?
Yeah, I've heard
really
people
does
just
work
like turn their lives around when it came to like,
Sleeping.
anxiety or sleep issues or PTSD or whatever it is. Like, they've all got some story like that to tell.
Right. And anecdote is power, because we know that person or we know of that person.
To me. Yeah.
Yeah. And so there's a lot. I mean, a perfect example of like the nightmare that this can become is goop. So like, you can take a jade stone and put it in your vagina and you will cure uterine cancer, right?
Don't
like,
besmirch Gwyneth.
like, here's the thing about it. It is a money-making machine because of this very thing. We want to be told what to do to be healthier, thinner, look better, to look like Gwyneth. We would like her life. And there is so much power, and I forgot the term that it's called, but essentially the power of celebrity it's just honestly, or you trust them pretty quickly, right? And you want what they're doing because they have this evidence of what they're doing is working, and it's called really good genetics and fame or whatever, And so I'll be thin and beautiful, and we know this on a logical level. Like, okay, I'm not going to turn into Gwyneth Paltrow, but if I buy her candle, if I buy this jade stone, and I eat moonbeams.
What candle is that you're talking about?
There's a particular candle. Anyway, so there is, I mean, that to me, that shows you the level of the insanity that it can become. That, I'm going to introduce you to my neighbor, Agnes, and she's got a candle that smells like her vagina. Would you like to buy it? No, you wouldn't.
No.
Because it's Agnes.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's just, it's astounding. And our brains lie to us all the time. So we think, oh, science, they're lying to me about these studies. Well, our brain is lying to us more. And it's tricky. And so part of this, like, navigating what works for me means there is educating yourself, exploring, and being careful about how your mind gets tricked. Like, for example, we know the placebo effect works. It's one of the things we can most consistently prove, right?
Right.
So there is something about us believing in something that matters. But as soon as you believe in it, oops, no, maybe I don't believe, it messes with us. So really, it's just hard to be a human. That's my answer to this.
Yeah. It's funny because I hadn't really thought about this. And I know this intrinsically, like the goop thing, I just roll my eyes, or anything like this, I just roll my eyes. Even Tony Robbins gets up and does something on a stage and with his big teeth, and I roll my eyes because I don't believe any of it. But it never occurred to me that, or I guess I hadn't really thought of it in the context of like, if it's Agnes making these claims, I don't give it the same credence because she's not Gwyneth Paltrow. Mm-hmm. That's jacked up. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know Gwyneth Paltrow at all. All I know is a couple of movies I've seen with her in it, and she's okay, I guess.
Oh, because she's a celebrity that has to be...
See, that sucks. That sucks that we do that as people. I don't like it. It's not good. Yeah. It's bad. It's unhealthy.
Well, it's just human. It's tribal, right? So we have whoever has, the ape that is with the silverback and he's the head. The way to get rid of him is to have someone fight him and beat him. And now we have someone else we think is stronger. So we do have a bit of this like animal tribal behavior that comes from associating with the alpha or the one who has the influence or the power. And so that typically means someone who's beautiful, or that typically means someone who meets the ideal of what our society has decided is ideal, right?
Right.
And so this is so far from this email. But anyway, the point is for anybody, like, where are you with this, right? Who will you fall for? What will you fall for? Has a lot to do with how desperate you are, right? How much pain you're in. And this is what's so frustrating, is that you can really like take advantage of people because they're in pain. Mm-hmm. And here he is being told like, maybe you're ADD, or you should try this, or you did that. And he's in his head all this time. And the reality is, there is no tuning into him or figuring himself out. And maybe this is just because I have a dog. Now that I'm a dog owner.
Yep.
And everyone said this to me before, get to know your dog. And I'm like, it's a dog. Like, what do you mean? Mm-hmm. But every single day I'm with this thing. And as I get to know him, I realize like, oh, he's just really naughty when he needs to run. Mm-hmm. Okay. So you find out what works. For what is working for Tommy is this or that. I mean, the dog needs puzzles. The dog needs a challenge. The dog needs to chew on a
you
stalk,
settled on the name. I didn't realize you settled on the name.
Yeah, Tommy is the name he came with.
Okay.
Okay.
Because none of us could remember what we had chosen, so we just kept calling him. We're like the dumbest family on earth. But anyway,
I love that.
His name's Tommy.
I love that.
And I do call him Thomas when I'm upset at him, so it's working out.
Thomas. Yeah.
Pain. Thomas of Aurelius. Anyway, so back up. So you have this like getting to know yourself and what works for you. And the problem though is, right, the most Googled thing they can look at, on what dates, what things are Googled. And it's always like, what diet should I try? How much weight should I lose? There's always some improvement of myself that gets Googled, right? Mm. And so what happens? You get 3 billion websites that'll tell you an idea. But to me, the core thing is like, who are you and what do you need? So Scott, maybe you need double dose of CBD. Maybe that's it.
Maybe. Yeah.
Run that by a professional, please, just to make sure.
All right. I will not make that diagnosis myself. I mean, the thing is, I'm not even, but at night, what I don't want to ever do, okay, so this is just a thing with me. I don't know if I've expressed it on the show, but I have trouble falling asleep. And and Brian, I know you do this too a little bit. Mm-hmm. For me, I attribute it just, I cannot shut my brain off, and I don't know how to do it. I don't have great mechanisms for doing it. And it's everything from really creative, great ideas that I'm thinking about, like, ooh, I can do this, I can do that. That's a rad thing to do. But then it's also all the worries are lumped in there. Like, well, what about this thing I got to do? What about this thing that's late? What about all this, we got to, I forgot to bill so-and-so or whatever. So like all those things. And then, where's Taylor? Or how come Nick's not home yet? Or, all the normal things you're supposed to be thinking about. I cannot shut them off. So what I don't want is, I don't want sleep medication because you're just asking for trouble. I don't want something that's like, here, take 2 Ativan at night and then hope you don't sleepwalk yourself into the street or whatever. And maybe that's me with a bias. I don't know. But anyway, my point is I don't want to do some chemical thing. Sweet. You hear about CBD oil. Comes from a plant. All right. That's natural. I can do that. Let's do that. And if that works, I take a single dose, nothing happens. I start doubting that any of that stuff works. And then I take 2 and I'm like, oh, Now I'm super chill right now. But then my brain goes, yeah, how do you know it's not a placebo there, dumbass? You know? So
yeah, that voice. That's the one our emailer was talking about.
That's the voice. And I have that. I totally get that voice a lot. So I feel for him.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
You didn't ask for this, but we're going to do a quick sleep analysis.
Uh-oh. Let's do it.
What are you doing right before bed?
Well, lately I'm trying to go right to bed. But
from what?
From whatever it is else is happening. So last
Tell me
night,
what that is.
Okay, so last night is a good example of what I think you're aiming for, which is I worked pretty late. I have a late show on Wednesday that goes late, and I have to post a bunch of stuff. And I was up till, I mean, it wasn't that late, but it was like 11. So at 11:15 or so, went upstairs, brushed my teeth, got ready for bed, and I said to myself, I'm just getting into bed and I'm done. This is it. There's no open up the iPad. There's no read my Kindle. There's no check my phone. I'm just going to bed. Let's go. And I did, but it still took me a long time to like get this stuff out of my head.
Right, because 11:15 and trying to go to bed at 11:30 means you did nothing to prepare yourself.
You're right. I agree. You're right. I could have made it worse though, which I have done in the past, which is lay there till midnight reading something.
Or fire up the iPad, watch a thing.
Yeah, watch a thing. Whatever.
That's what I do.
That's what you do. Okay, so I love to do this.
I know it's a problem. Yeah.
I love to do this because it reminds me how clearly it is a drug that we put into our body when we do this, right? So get really, 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 really tired. Like your body's like, now is when you should sleep, right? Like, you're exhausted, and then open anything. It doesn't even have to be that good on one of your devices. And if you really pay attention to your body while you're doing that, you will feel this. It's like, to me, it feels like almost like, like a power up on a video game, like it was and it just like slowly and suddenly I am wide awake. And you tell me if you're cautious, no, what's the word? Aware and conscious. That's the word. Conscience.
If you're
help me.
Conscious.
Conscious. Thank you. Sorry. Get the conscious. Conscious. If you're conscious of what it's doing to you, you will feel what I'm talking about.
Okay.
And now think about that for a moment. It's the opposite of a sleep aid, right? You are literally adding. The blue light specifically is saying, don't release the melatonin. Like, everybody hold off. We're not ready for bed.
Yeah.
And so what is happening is we sort of have this relationship with sleep that is pretty abusive. And we don't quite do the things necessary for it to work. And I get, you're going to work till 11:15 on Wednesday night. Well, then your bedtime needs to be 12:15. And you have an hour where you are doing all the sleepy time things.
See, that's interesting because I always look at it like, man, if you're not in bed before then, you're never going to fall. Like, I hadn't thought of that. Like, it's okay, maybe the cool down needs to happen.
Yeah, regardless of when it is.
Yeah.
And it'll happen quicker it's truly training your body to know what it's doing. So we have natural cues, right? The sun goes down. The problem is we have light that tells us that's not actually happening. So you have to mimic your biological sleep prep, right? Which is lights get lower and you start to do things that make you feel sleepy. So like if you're a bath person, that's a great example of like getting more, that's why we have some of the old adages of more milk or something. Just like, because our body, what it does when it, gets ready for sleep is it slows down and your temperature changes. Things are happening to get you ready to sleep, including melatonin release. But when you give yourself the blue screen drug, it's like, oh, power back up, we're awake. And so then there's even longer for that process to happen. So you actually reduce when melatonin is released. That's why you wake up even feeling worse. So more than anything, it's like, okay, you can say, and this actually applies to the emailer. Look at that, full circle somehow.
Wow.
Is the idea that you try something once and go, well, that doesn't make a difference. But think of how long you have treated your sleep cycle pretty badly. You don't just recover that by doing 1 or 2 nights of, shutting the screens off an hour before bed. But over a period of time, you do. Eventually, you'll start to, it's like dog training. I hit a clicker, I put a treat in a dog's mouth. So every time he hears this clicker, that dog's eyeballs are on me. Like, what do you want me to do? It's like, oh, sweet. So you're just training your brain. What are your clickers to go to sleep? What have you trained yourself so that it feels good? So maybe, CBD is a Band-Aid.
Right.
For a problem everyone has. There's no one who doesn't have this.
Yeah. Right.
Unless you're really careful. So if you'd like a fun accent and an interesting dialogue about sleep, the Happiness Lab is a podcast with Dr. Sanchez, and she interviews Ariana Huffington from the Huffington Post about
she's very good, darling.
Yes.
She has a lovely voice.
Yeah.
And she in 2007, she was running 1,000,000 miles an hour and was under the impression that no sleep meant she was a hero and she was going to do all these amazing things. And she felt normal and then went to sit down at her desk and just passed out and broke her cheek coming down on the desk.
Wow.
And hit like 100% burnout. Like that was the moment where her body goes, I am done doing this for you.
Dang, dude.
And she has ever since been a fanatic about sleep. And I don't know if you know this recently, but Jeff Bezos admitted to her that he got 8 hours of sleep a night. And she sort of forced him to write an article about it because she's trying to break the stigma of, the go-getters and the entrepreneurs who never sleep, and that valuing of like, you'll sleep when you're dead. And that means you're living an amazing life, but really you're just making bad choices.
Right.
Anyway, so that's a good one if you want to.
That surprises me that he gets 8 hours of sleep. I guess that's the point. That is surprising.
That is the point. He's coming out of the closet as a sleeper.
Yeah.
He can afford to get 8 hours of sleep.
See, look at you two. You have drunk the Kool-Aid.
A little bit.
Sleep is the greatest.
A little bit, but he all, whatever. Jeff Bezos.
Well, that's why I wouldn't trust him, is because I know that he's got people who can make sure that everything else in his life is taken care of to the point where he can get 8 hours of sleep.
Yeah, but who's taking his wiener pictures and sending those around?
Oh,
who does that?
he is after his 8 hours of sleep. Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Maybe he's doing it during the 8 hours of sleep.
Maybe he can blame it on sleepwalking. All right, we've come full circle. Excellent. Whatever. I like how he came clean on that whole thing. That was fine. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I like all this advice. Anything else we should tell him to wrap him up?
Yeah, tell him to go to www.realsteps.org.
Realsteps.org.
And sign up for our health thing we're doing. Speaking of, don't trust anyone, even me. But you should really trust me on this one because it's going to be
That's awesome.
I realize after I say all that, I'm like, oh crap.
Yeah. I want you to listen to me because I'm not going to Paltrow.
I am not going to lead you astray. But really what I am going to do, and it's going to be about like you doing this yourself and taking over your own life, right? Like in the end, that's the hardest thing is we're humans. We need each other. We look to each other like, am I okay? Am I doing this right? Mm-hmm. And when you look to some of the sources and you're miserable still, like do the math. And so that's part of what we're hoping to do is help people break through some of the crap we have around food and sleep actually. And what's been fun is we've had a lot of people sign up. I'm super excited. At first we had all women. It was like nothing but women, one guy. And now this last couple of days, just all the men are signing up.
Bunch of dudes. Great. Yeah, get those dudes in there.
Get the dudes in there. I'm excited. And also what the goals they chose. So we have a list of 30 goals that when they sign up and they pick up to 4 goals to work on. And it is astounding how similar people are in certain ways and then just how different the gender split. And it's really fun. So we're going to do a lot of fun things with goals. It's going to be exciting. So there's the deadline is February. Nope, just kidding. It is February,
This Friday, right?
Friday. Tomorrow. Oh my gosh, tomorrow. Whatever day that is. What is that?
Tomorrow at noon. Yeah, tomorrow at noon
7
Central Time.
Noon Central Time. And that's so we can go through everything and pick our 2. At this point, it'd probably only be 2 because we don't have enough people. Maybe 3 folks that are going to have the in-depth treatment. But the rest are going to get really good stuff. It's basically the same, just not as individual. Anyway, it's going to be a lot of fun. So
very cool. So two tiny notes. Carter, my daughter, who's in the chat this morning, says this is a huge emphasis in game development right now because of crunch. We're always talking about self-care, and mental health, and sleep. So there's and it is. It's a huge discussion right now.
Might not even think about that
in gaming.
Dude, crunch. I read all about crunch, and I watched what's his name, Hassan Minaj episode on crunch, and it's like horrifying.
Yeah, it's bad. It's pretty bad. And there's a couple of really exciting releases this year that everyone's super stoked about. but everyone know. It's almost like finding out that your phone was made by a underage Chinese person who made no money. You know what I mean? It's like it's a little bit of that going on. So that's hopefully good. You shed some light on that stuff and it improves. But the other thing I was going to say is your email this morning. Oh yeah, Aunt Wendy says hi. Carter, did you hear that? I hope she heard that. Your email made me feel guilty. I get this email this morning and the subject line is "Time is running out, my friend."
Listen, that's how I felt when I wrote it, and I was like, "Oh, this seems manipulative," but I am so tired, and time is running out.
It's totally not.
Gwyneth would say.
Yeah, something Gwyneth Paltrow would say. Time is running out.
I know, you guys. I hate it because it does work. I was not conscious of doing that, but I realized when you said that and later, I was like, oh, that feels manipulative. Can I take it back?
It's not.
I don't know how to take it back. I don't know how this email works.
Yeah, you can't take it back. Once it's out, it's out. But I like it because it caught my eye. It made me go, oh yeah, right. This thing's happening. Okay, we got to get in there.
You created urgency.
Yeah, why not? Why not? Especially when people got a million other things to do.
No one signs up when I do what I want to. It's like, listen, it's cool. If you don't want to do this, it's fine.
Yeah.
I still think you're a great person. That's what I want to say.
Yeah.
But that's not helpful.
There's no action. Yeah, there's no call to action with that.
Yeah. No one's falling for that.
Well,
buy my candle. Don't buy my candle. I don't care.
I don't even want to be.
That's ANNUS's role, and it's not working.
No, and I, by the way, don't want to be anywhere near one of these candles. If I find out someone has one, I'm not going to your house. I'm staying away from Gwyneth Paltrow's vagina candle.
So weird.
I'm not doing it.
So weird.
It's too weird. I don't like it.
Yeah.
Anyway, realsteps.org. Sign up before it's too late. Too late is technically tomorrow at noon Central. So go get in there and take care of that. Wendy, always a pleasure, like Dad would say, to have you on. Yeah, pleasure. Anything else you want to say or do or anything?
I got enough stuff, and I also enjoy 7 hours of sleep.
I get about if I'm good about what I just said I'm trying to be better at on those good nights. It's like 7. Yeah, I do okay.
Yeah, 6.5 to 7 for me, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. That's what we need as adults. But it's those nights where it's like I'm up at 1, I'm up at 2, I'm up at 2:30. Like, where's Nick? I don't know. He's home. Is he downstairs? I don't know where he is. Like all that stuff. I just gotta stop doing that.
Oh, by the way, when you say something, I forgot. You said your breathing practice.
Oh, yeah.
Used to work, and it's sort of not working. It's not that the breathing practice doesn't work. It's that you got to actually keep doing it and practicing, and you will have bad nights.
It's like,
I think we want a magic thing to fix it a little bit.
No, I think you're right. It's back to that mindfulness stuff, right? Like
Totally.
The mindfulness stuff, if you don't practice it, you get super rusty, and by
a muscle.
Count number 7 or 8, you're like, how did I even get over here? All right, back it up, everybody. And then you have to remind yourself that backing it up is part of that practice. So, yeah, I got to be better at that.
Back it up.
Back it up, baby.
Wise word.
Beep. See you later. All right. There goes Wendy. Realsteps.org. Something's wrong. Can you go to realsteps.org and tell me if you just get a bunch of wingdings?
I thought it was truesteps.org.
No, that was me screwing up. Something happened.
No, I see totally. It's totally fine. I see things.
I wonder if this browser...
Try maybe your cache is effed up. Try going under File, create a new private window or new incognito, whichever one you're using, and then type it in there.
You know what it is? I just figured it out. It's Edge. The new Edge browser, which I really like, but it's
switch to Bono, and you probably will have better luck on a Mac.
I take that hat off and put some glasses, some tinted
right,
glasses
exactly,
on.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's
You've
weird.
actually got the glasses already on to use.
Yeah, that's true. I don't have to do anything.
To use the Bono browser.
All right, I'm going to send this to her in a minute. All right. Just so they know, because Edge is actually very popular on PC. They got to be careful about that. Yeah. All right.
Chrome took our Wikipedia. We're taking it back.
Sunday bloated. Anyway, so we're done. Thanks for being here. Thanks for hanging out with us, everybody. We appreciate it. As you know, we do another one of these PM edition of the show, which we'll do tomorrow. However, it's just for patrons. So if you're a patron, you're going to see a link and a live thing and all that in the Patreon. Still working on. Here's the problem we ran into with the Discord thing for a private chat is we're trying to do that and the play dates and other stuff, and it turns out you can only do one per channel. One connected channel, and because
per server.
Yeah, per server. So We're trying to work our way around it. We don't know.
time to split them all out into separate servers again.
Yeah, and I just don't want to do that. I mean, I might make something just for this chat. I mean, that would work.
Yeah, there you go. Like the Playdate server, the Patreon Playdate server.
Yeah, and we'll just give that to patrons and say, you know, you can only get there through this or whatever. Sure. It's still, you know, people really wanted to. They could cheat around it and share with their friends or whatever, but we'll do the best we can.
Right.
All right. I know, after all that, dude, jeez.
It's so funny.
We're done then with this. Let's now go with that. That being, I should tell people, frogpants.com/TMS is our website. Support us if you want to be a part of that PM edition of the show or any of the Patreon rewards. You can do that at patreon.com/TMS and get in for as low as $1 a month. It's insanely low. And truth is, it's actually thanks to Patreon we even get $1 because it used to be you could do like 25 cents as a low ball or whatever. And they quit doing that. That's a Patreon thing. But even back in the day, you could have gotten in for 25. You could have been grandfathered in. But now you do it for $1. So get in, $1 a month. You're in, you're good. Patreon.com/TMS. For everything else, frogpants.com/TMS. All right, Brian, let's do a song.
Okay. So this one kind of emergency request that came in yesterday from Thomas Elbow Jensen from Denmark. He says, Dear Brian, my granddad was a badass, and I hope you will give me the honor of letting the Frog Pants community know about him. The only song I see fitting is Paul Anka's My Way. See what I did there? I didn't credit it to Frank Sinatra.
Nice job.
Well done, Thomas, except you still missed a little bit, but I'll talk about that in a second. He requested the Robbie Williams Live at the Royal Albert Hall DVD CD version. I don't have that one. I think even if I got it, I don't think I'd be allowed to play that one. Because I think that's Universal Music. That's UMG. Love your shows, Scott and Brian. Thank you. Your very shows will help me get through the loss. Love you both, though. Thomas Elbow Jensen from Denmark.
Nice.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about My Way, because it's a song that probably most frequently gets attributed to Frank Sinatra before Frank Sinatra. So Paul Anka was the first person to sing it with American lyrics. He wrote the American lyrics. But it actually goes back even further than that. A guy named Claude Francois from France was the first person to write the song, but it was all in French. So credit Paul Anka with the English version of My Way, and credit Frank Sinatra with the most popular version of My Way. But if we're going all the way back to the Genesis, then it's Claude Francois.
Oh, Genesis did a version, you're saying. Okay.
Sure. That's Invisible My Way. She's got to have an invisible My Way. The version we're going to play, though, comes from Saruman himself, Christopher Lee. In 2006, the late, great Christopher Lee released an album called Revelation, and on there, he did this amazing version of My Way. Here is Christopher Lee. Here's Darth. Not
Sidious.
Sidious.
Sidious?
Not Sidious. Darth Sidious,
Darth
right?
Cronenberg. Darth.
Is not Darth Cronus.
Darth
Dooku. Count Dooku. That's right. Well, he wasn't a Darth. He was a Count.
Yeah, he's a Count Dooku.
Count Dooku. Without, if that doesn't exemplify the prequels.
Yep. It does
Dooku.
to me. Yeah, Dooku.
Dooku is what those prequels were.
Dooku. Bantha Dooku.
Count Dooku.
Yeah.
Take away our Star Wars prequel card. The geek cred from that, fine. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I don't. My wallet is lighter. Take that card, please. Not a problem.
Exactly. Christopher Lee with his version of My Way.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network.
Frog Pants Network.
Get more shows like this at frogpants.com.
Northwest began serving peanuts this month. Georgia is the top peanut producing state.
Yep.
Wow, when you flub it twice.